My name is Alex Tay. I'm the CEO of Chilisoft. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Fortra webinar on GoAnywhere, Managed File Transfer. It's of Chilisoft's great delight to welcome Chris Hodgson and Ray Sutton, our presenters for today, to talk about the requirements around managed file transfer in the ANZ market. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you very much for the warm welcome, Alex. And very nice to meet you all. Appreciate you joining us for this session. So first of all, I just wanted to stop and give you a little bit of an overview of who Fortra are. First of all, I'm Chris Hodgson, so I should have introduced myself. I'm one of the account managers at Fortra, looking after our managed file transfer solutions, which includes GoAnywhere, our flagship MFT tool. So Fortra, we have been in operation since the 1980s. So we are founded and headquartered from Eden Prairie in Minnesota, and we've grown year over year through an even mix of organic growth and strategic acquisitions to become a nearly $800 million in revenue organization. If you look at our business, we have just a little bit over 2,700 employees spread across 20 physical offices around the world. Now that's giving us access to 30,000 customers across all verticals and industries, across all of our Fortra's brands. So interestingly, you possibly could be familiar with Fortra from our past history. So we were founded in the 1980s, as I mentioned, originally started out life as a mainframe organization, so selling software and solutions for mainframe technology. Now, we grew to be more of a cybersecurity solution company over the last 15 years. So that's been through our acquisitions. Basically, our acquisitions have led us to look for companies which shared capabilities. So when we're acquiring cyber businesses, we're looking for those companies to have capabilities with automation, cross-platform installation capabilities, and cloud-friendly attributes. So when we acquire those businesses, we can then integrate them within the Fortra solution portfolio. So getting into kind of managed file transfer, what is a managed file transfer solution? So traditionally, people use a number of secure and unsecure methods of transferring data with their trading partners. Think of the FTP servers, emails, and cloud applications, or even in some extreme cases, USBs being shared to get data from A to B. What an MFT solution does is replaces some of the very unsecure methods, traditional file methods, but also centralize the others, adding automation, so things like scheduling capabilities or folder monitors or event-based automation, end-to-end encryption of your data, security features like role-based security access for how you you get into your system and who should have access to what within the system. Full auditing capabilities for the system and all the file transfers that are pushed and pulled throughout your enterprise. And then obviously being able to be compliant to various data privacy standards like, GDPR, PCI DSS, HIPAA, things along those lines, depending on what industry you're in. So getting into that a little deeper, essentially an MFT should form the central component of your file transfers and integrations. If you centralize with an MFT, you can often replace a number of disparate solutions and provide one overarching kind of management and control panel for the way that you push and pull data throughout your enterprise, be it to cloud solutions. So things like Azure or AWS or GCP or Alibaba. Is it deploying remote agents to a partner to kind of secure the delivery of files back to your environment? Is it peer-to-peer collaboration where you're sharing documents either internally or externally with, kind of partners? And even when you're centralizing with an MFT solution, it also gives you the option of then adding services into your MFT framework. So there's things like ICAP integrations that provide data loss prevention and antivirus scanning for your file transfers. We can also then add into that framework zero trust. So essentially putting policies and a framework around your data so it's protected and controlled, and you can track documents outside of your MFT, but still within your GoAnywhere framework. So still managed centrally for alerting and automation and compliance. So what types of file transfers are there? There's lots of them, and they're all catered for within GoAnywhere. So to give you some common examples, it's your server-to-server file transfer, automated transfers between two servers, server-to-person file transfers for a software application sends a file to a server or an email address, or sends a notification that a file is available for pickup. So person to person, that's the collaboration I spoke to you about. So users sending files to each other through emails such as Outlook or an online portal. Person to server, a user sends a file to a server, such as your shared drive in your office, where it is available to co-workers or the server itself. And then application to application, so doing things through APIs. And GoAnywhere has a .NET and RESTful API for those type of integrations and interactions. So some of the common reasons people would choose a managed file transfer solution over, scripts or other methods of disparate kind of SFTP servers. Why would you want to kind of centralize it with an MFT? So to secure the file exchange throughout your enterprise, full traceability and control. So literally everything that is sent is audited, and those audit logs can be essentially exported to a SIEM tool for full control and visibility of throughout your environment. Centralized administration, so visibility on all the file transfers that are happening throughout your environment at any given time. Automation, and as I've mentioned, this could be traditional batch scheduling kind of automation, or it could be event-driven automation. Auditing and reporting, as mentioned, it also can be externalized to SIEM tools for further kind of granular auditing capabilities. GoAnywhere is designed to help companies meet, standard data privacy standards across the world. So think your GDPR, your PCI DSS for credit card info, your Sarbanes-Oxley, or HIPAA for the healthcare industry. Whatever it is, because everything's audited within GoAnywhere, you can essentially run reports that would see that if you're compliant to these various different standards. So consolidating. So typically businesses are already doing file transfers. They're just using a number of different things. It could be scripts, it could be SFTP servers, it could be a bunch of different things. So consolidating that into one manageable solution is usually a good reason for a business to want to go down this route. End-to-end encryption. So not just the encryption that SFTP provides you alone, but able to kind of PGP encrypt files. So it's encrypted throughout its life cycle. And then people want an easy to use product. Scripts can do file transfers, but they become cumbersome if people leave and, processes change, and obviously those scripts are no longer fit for purpose. GoAnywhere gives a kind of drag and drop interface that provides an easy to use way of building out your kind of push and pull data exchanges and integrations with your partners. So again, some advantages of GoAnywhere MFT in particular. So we are a cross-platform installation product. So we can install on typically Windows, Linux, or Unix, but there's quite a lot of flexibility in the installation of GoAnywhere. Because of that also extends out to kind of cloud deployments. So we can deploy to Amazon and Azure. So we're on the AWS and Azure marketplace. So you can spin up a GoAnywhere direct from those marketplaces. But of course, you can also install GoAnywhere on GCP, Alibaba, Oracle Cloud. The choice is down to you. So as I've mentioned, there's kind of batch and ad hoc file transfer capabilities we've built into the product, full auditing and alerting capabilities. So detailed audit logs for all file activity, including batch, ad hoc, inbound, outbound transfers. An interface provides a browser interface for all administration, monitoring. No desktop client is needed. So inbound services, so things like SFTP, FTPS, HTTPS, AS2, 3, 4, all native inbound services for GoAnywhere. Key management, so GoAnywhere provides integrated tools for creating and managing open PGP keys, SSH keys, and SSL certificates. End-to-end encryption, so encryption at rest, in motion with FIPS and AES 256 encryption. Admin control, so implements role-based secure administration of the solution. We've got the concept of security domains and granular permission controls to even segregate the environment if needed for security reasons, and then obviously governing the access to that. And we also have agents, so they're easy to deploy, easy to automate and secure file transfers to and from remote locations, all managed centrally from your GoAnywhere MFT solution. So why are our customers choosing GoAnywhere? So look, if you wanted to do your own research, you can find the data quadrant report for 2024, where GoAnywhere was listed as the #1 MFT solution amongst our peers. But you can also go and check things out like G2, Capterra, Gartner reviews, and you'll typically find GoAnywhere as either the #1 or close to. And if you then kind of read into those reviews and look a little further why people are marking us as one of their preferred solutions, it's the excellent levels of customer service that we provide them. We've got a very active R&D team. We also have the ability for our customers to be involved in our roadmap with things like being able to raise enhancement requests through our product board. So very active R&D team, full automation within the solution. Because it's so easy to use, it's also drag and drop automation in many cases. So not just IT users can get to grips with the solution. Often business users from HR, finance, procurement, whatever it might be, can often be taught to use GoAnywhere pretty easily. And it's very, very secure with a lot of the controls we can put around how you send files, how those files are governed. It's an extremely secure solution. But all of this is available. I'd encourage you to go and have a look. As I say, there's the data quadrant report available, and G2, Capterra, and Gartner reviews are also good places to look at us and other MFT peers. Now, in terms of our customer base, excuse me, sorry, like many software businesses, we have pillars of success within education, financial services and banking, insurance, and healthcare. But the nice thing about GoAnywhere is that the other section. GoAnywhere is such a flexible tool and so relevant for so many enterprise organizations that we have, customers across pretty much every vertical. So I think, retail, mining, supermarkets, gaming, consultancies, construction, the energy sector is not mentioned there, but it's another big pillar. Broadcasting, automation, automotive even. It's just so flexible that we have such a plethora of companies across most industries. And I've just highlighted a few that are specifically within New Zealand, just again to give you a kind of idea of the types of organizations that are kind of investing in a solution like GoAnywhere. There's a couple of success story slides that I'm included to give you an idea of, I suppose, some of the use cases, but each of these three kind of loosely fits into one of four categories of how our customers typically find their way to us. The first would be they're looking to consolidate a number of disparate tools. So they might have some legacy scripting that they're doing. They might have an SFTP server. They might have a whole bunch of other shared folders and drives that they use for various things, and maybe even Dropbox. And essentially somebody has identified that it's very hard to manage these disparate systems. There's no visibility, there's no auditing, and often they'll just fail a security review. So they'll look to centralize all of that with an MFT solution. More commonly in today's modern world, businesses are moving to the cloud. They'll typically move systems that they can first, big ERP systems, to the cloud, and they'll realize that they still need an integration tool to help them pull from downstream on-prem systems or other cloud locations and securely deliver files into, a cloud ERP, for instance. Most ERPs will have an SFTP client, so GoAnywhere can simply push and pull information to things like, SAP HANA, Technology One, things like that. But even as customers move their infrastructure to the cloud, they still have requirements to send files to, on-prem partner systems. So again, there's a lot of use case around cloud migration, ERP cloud migration, where GoAnywhere comes up. Another common one for us is then competitive migrations. We've had a lot of customers come to us that have grown out of their previous solution, be it a tool designed for SMEs rather than kind of enterprise customers, or be it they've actually bought an enterprise tool that really hasn't modernized over the years and is, they're looking for something that's more cloud friendly. So in those scenarios, we've had customers from, IBM Sterling look at things like GoAnywhere, customers from MoveIt that would look at GoAnywhere. But yeah, it's a very common use case to have someone who's used an MFT before want to do a migration to GoAnywhere. So those are sort of the really common use cases for GoAnywhere. And again, it's just so broad across the industries that we work in. I mean, these customers aren't named, but within payment services, previous one was in financial services or a bank, and the third use case was a chemical company. So again, just highlights just how flexible the tool is and how relevant it is for many different industries that have to process sensitive data. So getting on to the solution itself, so how is GoAnywhere kind of licensed? How would it be installed? So there's various considerations. There's a lot of capabilities that essentially GoAnywhere can bolt in to meet your use case. So it's not one size fits all for our customers. We consult with you, we find out about what you're doing currently, and we can then look to kind of centralize that under the GoAnywhere hood. Then we would look to kind of establish where you wanted to install the software. And that is very, very flexible. You could install it on a server that you manage on-prem somewhere in your own cloud PPC, or we have our own MFT as a service, which is hosted by us in AWS in Sydney region. So data sovereignty within Australia. Environments. So we have the concept of clustering within GoAnywhere. So if you are dealing with business critical data, maybe there is an ERP integration that GoAnywhere is part of. It may be that you're doing your payroll, for instance, and there's some criticality to those file transfers. We do have a high availability clustering concept. So you can have a cluster of 2 or more nodes for high availability and failover. So typically we would have customers with 2 nodes, but we have here in ANZ, we have customers up to 4 nodes, balanced across 4 different availability zones. So that's providing, active load balancing between the multiple nodes, but also failover in the event of a disaster on one of the sites. And then we have a full non-production architecture, so you can replicate your production in UAT, but we also have sort of test, sandboxing, DR environments as well. Like most organizations, Fortra has moved to subscription only for our different installation options. I think that's probably very typical for the conversations you're having either with your customers or other vendors, but yeah, it's a decision we've made as well. And of course, we have full pro services assistance to support an implementation or ongoing expansion of GoAnywhere. So we have training courses available. It's modular. It can be built around a particular customer's requirements. There's full migration and implementation capabilities. So whether we're migrating you from an existing MFT to GoAnywhere, or whether we're implementing an MFT from fresh, we have full services to help you go live. Essentially we've got everything in between. Essentially, we've even brought out for our larger customers the concept of expert services, which is a subscription with our professional services team. Essentially, that's digested with some monthly hours dedicated with our PS team. So it's become very popular with our large customers that has grown with us over time, heavily used system. They like to have those hours booked in with us to look at workflow design, system health, and just general advice. Maybe it's on what our roadmap looks like, and obviously upgrading the software and things like that. But all sorts of services available to support the implementation of GoAnywhere. We also have a number of bundles that are slightly discounted and give our customers the opportunity to kind of purchase some of the commonly used components and capabilities of GoAnywhere in a bundle. So, like I say, like many businesses, they'll have a starter, a premium, and an enterprise bundle that includes, as I say, the commonly used features within the GoAnywhere kind of suite. Another benefit of centralizing your MFT is being able to have layered security solutions for a more comprehensive coverage. So starting at the bottom here, your MFT, as we've kind of established, would be that central console for sharing your data throughout your enterprise. You can then, starting at the top here, add other solutions that kind of complement and protect your data. So we have a secure collaboration solution that basically is a zero trust capability that puts some control and policies around your data, so it can be automatically secured when it's shared internally and externally. The data can be tracked as it's accessed throughout its life cycle. It can be audited to mitigate risk and with full kind of audit trails. And of course, you can then revoke access to sensitive data immediately. So that can be put in front of your environment to add those zero trust capabilities for once the files landed with your partners. We can also then add in antivirus and DLP capabilities with our ClearSwift integration, which was both of these were Fortra acquisitions. So at a baseline, that gives us access to antiviral scanning for all of the files that come into your environment from your external trading partners. But we can also add a bunch of capabilities in there that help us to meet other PCI DSS requirements or other data privacy requirements. For instance, with the ClearSwift Secure ICAP Gateway, we can add in data redaction and document sanitization to pull out PCI or PII data like credit card numbers or dates of birth or anything along those lines, driving license numbers, whatever it might be. We can automatically pull that type of information from a document before it's sent out to a trading partner, or even before it's ingested into our system. So again, these kind of layered systems that you can put in front or in line with your MFT that can be managed from the MFT itself. And we also have a web application firewall that can be put in front of your MFT and the gateway for additional architectural security layer. So again, these are all acquisitions now integrated heavily within the GoAnywhere framework. So hopefully this paints a picture of why organizations would want to centralize with an MFT solution. It gives opportunities for scalability. So as new requirements come up for your business, you don't need to go and completely evaluate a new solution. There's capabilities that can be bolted in that are well integrated within the GoAnywhere framework. Is there any questions? And I'll then pass over to Ray Sutton, who can do the technical demo for everybody.
There's currently no questions in the chat.
No
Chris?
Thank you. No problem. Thank you, Ray. There you
go. Okay, good morning, everybody. Oh, good afternoon, actually. Sorry, big pardon. I'm just going to share my screen here. Okay, can you let me know if you can see that screen, Chris?
Yeah, I can, yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Or one of the panelists, sorry, guys. Okay, so just a brief introduction to myself. My name is Ray Sutton. I'm what's called a solutions engineer for Fortra. And given the amount of products that Fortra has, I specialize in the SFT space, or the secure file transfer space, which includes tools like GoAnywhere that we're talking about today, includes tools like File Catalyst for high-speed data transfer. It also includes another MFT called GlobalScape and other parts of what we define as our SFT portfolio. Before I go actually into the demo, I just wanted to go back to one of Chris's slides here, and just basically just to go through not the words that are in here, but the actual architecture, just to show you the base architecture and just start from those places, and sort of reiterating why we like to see the MFT in the private network or in your network, because of the amount of tools that it offers you as part of that. Chris spoke about the GoAnywhere gateway, and what that allows us to do, if you like, is to control inbound what's coming from the big bad internet side of the business. So in other words, all of your trading partners, all of your customers, even remote employees, everything will come via the gateway when it comes through the system. Now, what that gives us is another security domain to control the incomings and outgoings of those files. Chris also mentioned in the very last slide, the WAF that can also sit in front of that internal firewall as well to weed out any other bad things like XSS scripting injections and those sort of things as well. But effectively, when it comes into the gateway will do a reverse and forward proxy for those information, and it will then connect back into your MFT in the back end. Now, everything is then controlled from that MFT. So from a customer perspective or your automation side, everything tends to come out then from the gateway. And then internally, if you can imagine another box coming this way, coming into the actual private network or into your MFT, it means you can offer your users tools as well. Now, we've got a whole variations of tools inside those web user capability, such as secure mail. So using your GoAnywhere to actually send mail securely is one of the biggest problems that businesses have, where everybody just attached it to an email on an Outlook, and then it's sent through without any real checks and balances. So what this secure mail allows you to do is to put those checks and balances in place and put a life cycle against that process as well. So what you'll see when we're going through the demo itself, I'm going to be using some of these user tools to show you how interactive it is with users as well. So I just wanted to kind of paint the picture from a hardware, or if you like, sorry, from an architecture perspective, why we deploy GoAnywhere the way that we do. Okay. So let's go on to the MFT first of all. Okay. So what you're looking at is GoAnywhere's admin console here. Okay. Now, as Chris mentioned, we do high availability for business critical systems. So what you can see here in this service status is 2 servers in a high availability cluster. So what that means is that if one of the nodes fails or falls over, it automatically will switch to the other node. Also, when workload comes in, so if you have busy workloads, you might have a lot of automation coming through, you might have a lot of users attached. What GoAnywhere will do is balance out that workflow across both of those servers as well automatically. And what you can see with these active sessions that you can see along down these columns against some of these services is where things are currently at the moment, where things are actually coming through as well. So this screen is also customizable. These gadgets can be picked up and moved around, and we've also got a whole heap of gadget libraries here. What that means is you can create these dashboard screens to suit your operational requirements, whether you're looking at job statistics or file activity or unresolved jobs which have got problems or recent completed jobs that have come through, you're able to see those on one screen. Okay, so with admin users, we have a concept of 2 different types of users. So as I say, you're looking at the admin user here. And again, there's a whole heap of security settings, RBAC, as Chris mentioned. There's also user roles that you can define people, so you don't give them full admin privileges. You just need to give them the privileges that they need. And also, it can be controlled from Active Directory or TOTP for multi-factor authentication, and so on and so forth. It's got full RBAC roles capabilities. And then we have these concepts of what we call web users as well. So web users is a person to person, generally speaking, or a person to server, is uploading and downloading files. And what a web user gives them is the capability to have their own front end portal or HTTPS server, if you like, to log into to actually run and do those things. And we'll come on to that in a moment. Picking up some of the other things Chris mentioned in his speech, what we actually do is everything is audited. So everything's in this simple, easy to use audited type framework where we can see all the service logs and also the antiviral messages, etc. And also, ease of use. I mean, everything is pretty easy to use within GoAnywhere. So if I click under services and I look under service manager, you can see these are all my external services that I'm offering, such as an SFTP server, an FTPS server, as I say, the web portal or HTTPS, and things around the gateway that we were speaking about is also controlled here, and so on and so forth. Okay. So what we do when we set up GoAnywhere is obviously, first of all, is we will create your services that you're going to be offered. So you're going to become the server for this, the server part component, such as SFTP. Okay. If we need to go out to different parts of the business, such as cloud, or we need to go out to other parts where data resides, we call those resources. And you can see here, it's a very simple case of working out what resources, such as an SSH server, or it could be a network share, or it could be an Amazon S3 bucket, or an Azure blob storage, or even some cloud connectors that we've also got, such as SharePoint. It might also go out to other cloud providers as well. Salesforce is another one, or OneDrive, Google Drive, so on and so forth. Okay, so you can connect to all of those types of data sources. Once we've got those data sources connected, what we can then do is then work out how we're going to automate some of these things. But before I do that, I'm just going to show you a really quick demo from an automation perspective. Now, obviously, I'm not doing this via a workflow because otherwise you wouldn't see anything. So I'm just using what we call FileZilla, which is just an SFTP client. And I'm just going to connect to that SFTP server you can see here. So I've disconnected to that server. And I'm now connecting to my SFTP. I'm just going to go into the files here, going to find a couple of files and just upload those. Okay. Okay, you can see they're now just uploaded. So if you're not familiar with FileZilla, the left-hand side here is my PC. This side is actually the SFTP server. Okay, so I've just transferred some files, but what does that mean for GoAnywhere? Well, if I come back to my reporting, into my audit logs, you can see here, I'm based in Perth in Western Australia, so the time here is 9:37 for us currently. And you can see I've connected and I've uploaded files successfully. Okay, and from an auditing capability, I can then click on this file. It tells me who did it, where the user was, what the physical path was, what they uploaded. But also, as Chris mentioned, I linked to an ICAP file. I've got an ICAP scanner, which is run by our ClearSwift component, and it tells me that it's actually successfully scanned that file. So that file is clean. There's no viruses on there. And I've even can then check that out by looking at the antiviral logs, and you can see there the 3 files are transferred. And again, if I click on there, it tells me that that this file is clean and it's good. I've got a question where I'll come back to you on that question in one moment. But effectively, that's how the system works. It basically is allowing me to provide that service. What I can then do is, now I've got this service up and running, I can now automate that process. Now, I'm not going to go into deep here, but this is what Chris was talking about. Your Monday to Friday, 3 a.m. data transfer calls. We call that a schedule. We do what we call an ad hoc, what we call a folder monitor. So basically, from a customer perspective, what they use this folder monitor for, generally speaking, is people can drop files into this folder, and then basically we have a workflow that then runs against that folder, which will do something to it. Generally, as Chris mentioned, it's PGPing files because people don't want a file unencrypted inside folders. So they can drop the files in there. We have a workflow which will automatically then go and PGP those files automatically. Okay, and they run every minute. So you can check the files and see, make sure that they are secure. The last one is a trigger. So that's an event-driven type approach. So think of things like file upload or upload successful. We might want to do something to that. We might want to send you an email just to say, thanks very much, we've got your file. Or we might want it to actually do some actual other work on there as well. So it's just another way of us interacting with the system as well. And these other tasks that you can see here are all around the schedule. So you know your job queues, your queued jobs, your active jobs, and all the completed jobs as well, the projects that I've run. From an automation perspective, I'll just jump into one just to show you the drag and drop capability. It literally is a case of going, okay, I want to do a file system copy, dragging it from left to right onto my screen here. I can then choose which file, or I can create a file set. And anything that's in my resources that you can see here, so it could be a network share, it could be an Amazon S3 bucket. We'll just go into a network share here. I can then go, okay, so anything that's in these test files that I've got here, and I only want to pick up, start.json files. Okay, I only want to pick up files which have a specific file name. But I'm just going to select the directory here, and then I've got the ability to then add a filter. So I can include or exclude, and I can say I only want text files. Okay. And then I've just got to say where I want it to go, what destination directory to go. And that could take it to an Amazon S3 bucket directly. Okay. So I'm interacting with an Amazon S3 bucket here, and I can say I want those files to get pushed into that location. It's as straightforward as that. I'm just going to delete this though, so I don't cause myself any problem. But that's the kind of idea. You can also see on here that if things go wrong, I can create another module called an error module, which will send me an email saying, hey, this failed, and this is the file, and what we call the job log can also be attached to that as well. Okay. So that's the simple drag and drop interface. And you can see you can have a whole series of folders. You can have production folders, training folders, and so on and so forth for these projects as well. We've also got a template library, so you can create your own. And if you use them consistently, it's the same process, but maybe a different server. You can even create a template for that. So you just basically have to follow the bouncy ball to fill it in. So that's really the automation side of things. Okay.
Right. So just while you're there,
sure.
I missed it a few moments ago. Eric Smith did ask a question. He said, hi, Ray, what indication is there on the admin portal that the server's configured in HA mode? So it was
yeah, so because it's in high availability mode, there's what we actually have is when you look at your screen, you can see the two servers here that they're attached together, but we also have a cluster manager. So what you can actually see with those cluster managers is who's in charge of what solution or what service, right? So basically what that means is the coordinator is the one that's obviously got control of everything. And if this coordinator drops out, this participant you can see here will become the coordinator. When this server comes back, it will come back as a participant. And that's is active all the time. So as long as those two servers are there, they're always active and together. Now we've got certain customers that have 4 clusters, or 5 node clusters. So you can have as many nodes as you wish on there from a scalability perspective to suit your needs. If you look, for example, for my SFTP one that I just recently done on FileZilla, I'll just disconnect here and reconnect. We should see in our services, if I look at my service manager, we should see an SFTP connection. You can see this is now on 1, so this is my service 1 here. And if I disconnect and connect again, hopefully it should go to 2 if it's all working well. Let me just refresh that. You can see now it's moved to 2, but it's still the same SFTP session, right, that I've always had before. Okay, so it just shows me what's connected where and what services are up and running for that connection. Just going to drop that for a second. I hope that's answered your question there, Eric. So let's talk now about web users as well. Let's talk about web users and what access they've got. So if I just look at a web user here, just going to open one I'm going to use for those. What we can actually do with these web users is we can set different responses for them. So authentication types and how we want them to authenticate. You can see here I've got multi-factor authentication, and it's time-based one-time password, or an authenticator app is a way to look at that. We can then say this web user what features we want them to have, and also primarily, again, what folder we want them to attach to. So what you can see here is, again, using these resource types, I can actually create paths to those resource types too. So the LSP bucket we were looking at, and so on and so forth. Okay. So there's lots of things in here that could go on for ages for this. So an ability of time, I'm just going to sort of cancel out from that user. And I'm actually going to log in as that user. So now just imagine I'm someone who outside of the organization or even internal to the organization. And when you're actually creating these tools, what you don't want is for them to be too difficult or too hard for people to use. So what we've done with this interface, I'm just going to get my verification code here. So excuse me for looking down. I need to get my authenticator app open and signed in. Quick on the type. I've only got 10 seconds. Cool. There we go. All right, so what you can see here, this is what it looks like to a user. Now, this interface that you're looking at here can be reskinned in the customer colors. It can do, whatever you want it to be, okay? So what you can see is, though, if I go back, sorry, I should have really stayed in that web user for the folders. You can see these are the folders he's got access to and the permissions here. And this is what it looks like when actually a user logs in. So if I click on the network folder here, I've got the ability to pick a file, upload a file. Let's pick one that I haven't done. I don't think that one's there, but it looks it. And I can upload those files successfully. I just uploaded this one here. Now, I'll just show you from an ICAP perspective, what will happen is if that file isn't allowed. Okay, so I have a restriction within my GoAnywhere that I don't upload. I can't upload executables or any files that's got an ISO, an executable, or anything like that. Now, a common approach that hackers do is they'll take an executable and they'll rename it. They'll either double header it, so it'll say something like calc.exe.pdf to try and fool the system, or they'll just rename the endpoint and say it's actually calc.text, as for example in this example here, but underneath this is actually the calculator.exe. If I try to upload this calc.text, what you'll see is a big red box at the bottom here, which says, nope, that's file upload has failed. It's going to clear those messages. And if I go back to my GoAnywhere really quickly, and I go into my audit logs again, and I look at my antivirus, you can see here that the calc.text has been rejected from my ICAP server. And if I click on the actual three dots, it tells me the reason why it was not allowed is because it's an executable, and an executable is not allowed in the system. Okay. And obviously, if that's a viral message, it will come up with an antiviral message. It will say, the virus that it found within there and the reason why it got rejected. So this is doing it from a web application perspective. Okay. So this is really, as I say, easy way for them to use. What you can also see down the side here is other tools that we can provide users. GoDrive is our collaboration tool, so we can use our GoDrive to actually share files and collaborate together on certain files. So a very secure way of doing that. Our secure mail, as I say, is using our secure mail as as I go anywhere as a package manager and put in life cycles around it as well. So you can only download it once. It's only going to stay on the system for a week, and if you haven't downloaded it within a week, it's going to disappear, and so on and so forth. And lastly, it's what we call secure forms. Now, secure forms can be developed to show to allow you to get more information or to get more information into a file. We did a recent one for a tax office in the region where they're using these forms inside a kiosk. And you go to the kiosk, fill in all the information. It's got a scanner attached. They can upload their files via the scanner. and automatically GoAnywhere will pick up those files and distribute them to the correct department that they need to go to. But what I'm going to show you here is what we call our zero trust system. So what this is doing is I can set a security level for this file. You can see it's view only, so I can only view the contents of this file. I'm just going to send it to myself here. Just write a nice pleasant message and browse to attach a file. So I've got a Word template here. So what's going to happen is this has what we call a project or workflow attached to this form. And I'll show you that in a moment. And what's happening is it's going to upload this form and then it's going to use secure mail to send me this file. Okay, so let me just press submit here. And that should go through. Oh my goodness, you can see the package has now been sent. If I go to my GoAnywhere here, and I go into my workflows and completed jobs, you can see here, this is the actual project. It's called the Demo Vera project. And inside here, you can see it's come from a secure form, so there's no smoke and mirrors here. And let me then click on this while I'm looking for it. You probably have my email telling me that the email's arrived, which is great. And in here is all the information as to what it did. So what happened with that file. Ultimately, it worked. And again, just to show, again, there's no smoke and mirrors here. If I look at my audit logs for my antivirus, even that secure mail message or that document has been scanned twice. It's been scanned when I attached it as a secure form, and it's been scanned again when it's come through as a secure mail as well. So again, total security is paramount here. So I'm just going to double click. I've got the message over here. I'm just going to open that. So this is what you get from a secure mail message. Okay, it's secure delivery of a file. Again, this can be changed and modified for the customer colors. But if I click on download files here, it should come in to open the file up. So what it's doing now is it's going to my GoAnywhere. Now, this is the other part of the secure mail client you can see here. Now, what you can see is this one remaining download I've got of this file. So if I download this file, I'm going to click it just to download it. Okay. You can see that's now changed to 0, and I cannot access that file again. I cannot download it. I cannot do anything with it other than do that. So it shows you the secure mail client is saying, yes, you can download this, but you only got to download it once. Okay. So let me now just open that file, that template document that we created. And what you'll actually see here is our zero trust system. So I'm just going to view the file. And of course, I've only got view only capability. So you can see the tools at the top here. I'll wait for the file to open, but the tools at the top here are print and copy, and they're going to be grayed out as well. Okay. It should load the document in a couple of seconds. There we go. And I'm just going to scroll down to a clean area, and don't know if you can hear that. I'm trying to type in, but I can't add anything to it. You can see these buttons are grayed out. I can't print it. I can't copy it. I can't really do anything here with this document as well. So this is what we call zero trust. So there's lots of other options with zero trust. There could be that it could be an Excel document, and I might want someone just to update some numbers inside that an Excel spreadsheet. I can do that. I could use that collaboration and say these are the only parts that you've got access to. I can watermark these documents so that they're not transparent. I don't watermark this one because you wouldn't be able to read it. But the idea is there. You've got lots of options with what we call the zero trust types of files as well. And that's the beauty of having a system that we've allocated, we've acquired other businesses and other resources, and we've inputted those into those tools to make it a lot easier for a user and also make it a bit friendlier in regards to that. With Secure Mail, there's also an Outlook plugin as well. So if you use Outlook, you can actually secure it in your Outlook plugin. So when you send email, you can actually secure mail. Let me just, again, with picture paints 1,000 words, as they say. I'll just open the new email template here, and you can see I've got the options to send an email securely as well. And we can also make it mandatory on certain types of documents. We can do it on file sizes as well, that it actually automatically goes via secure mail, etc., to make things a bit easier. That was all I was going to demonstrate. I think I'm okay with time. Is there any questions or from anyone in that regard?
Hi, Ray. There was one question earlier actually that also didn't get answered. I think it was from the very beginning, actually, before the session answered. So it was, how is MFT different to, I think it was MS Secure Mail, I think it was, and MS DLP in place? I'll have to have a look, see if I can find the question again.
Yeah, look, the Microsoft toolset obviously does allow for DLP. There is DLP capability there, but we're really talking purely about file transfer plus those abilities to have those systems. So the Microsoft DLP system would obviously look after your emails and also do the data redaction and those sort of things as well. But hopefully what you've seen is with the GoAnywhere integrating those systems together, gives you more of a broader footprint in regards to the file transfer capability that you've got. So it could become part of the service or part of the solution. I don't know whether the Microsoft service has what we call an ICAP capability. So ICAP is just a protocol on the way that systems interact with antiviral systems. That's what ICAP is. And obviously within our ClearSwift tool, we've got a full ICAP capability with multi AV scanners and so on and so forth. But we also have those DLP capabilities as well inside that tool. So it's really enhancing that capability.
Is there any other questions that people would like us to field live? Or anything you'd like to see in the system that is relevant to use cases that you're seeing?
If you have any questions or you would like a one-on-one demo and meeting with Fortra and Chilisoft, please reach out to us. If there is no other questions, thank you very much, everybody, for your time. Thank you very much, Chris and Ray, for all of the effort you've put into this.
Our pleasure. It's
Our
great.
pleasure.
And thanks for introducing us to your network. It's nice to speak to everyone. We're very happy to follow up any questions that come out of the session. And look, if there's specific things you'd like us to run into, we can arrange some one-to-one sessions.